What's up, everybody? My name is Faith Gill. Welcome back to our student channel. I'm so excited that you're here today. I am Brady's wife. So if you don't know me, hi, it's nice to meet you. And I'm super excited to be jumping into the fourth week of Is It Just Me? So we're going to be talking about best friendship and all those things. Well, here's the thing. I have the best week of all because I'm going to be talking about the ultimate best friend list. And yes, I mean like a Snapchat best friend list. We're going to be talking today about how to have a friendship with Jesus that is like going to be the top of the ultimate best friend list on Snapchat, where you just communicate with him all the time and you love it. So we're going to be talking about that today. Disclaimer, if you do not have a personal relationship with Jesus, this is not referring to salvation. Send us a message. We'd love to hook up with you and help you with that. But this is not a series, and this lesson is not about salvation. All right, so let's get started because I have a lot to say about this best friend list. So if you do have a Snapchat, you probably know that the fire emoji, right here. The fire emoji is a streak. And so a streak is when you send a message to someone or like a picture with someone and then they send a picture back. And as long as that continues to go on every single day, then you continue your streak. So I want to point number one to have a best friendship with Jesus is it all starts with streaks. And no, I don't mean streaking. I mean streaks. Okay? And so streaks basically is just your communication back and forth with God. What does that look like every single day? A lot of us, I think, feel like, well, you know, Jesus isn't really here on earth, so how is this the same? You know, that communication can't be the same. Well, let me share something with you that I think is so important because it can be the same. We often feel like because Jesus isn't here that he's not with us. But in Matthew 28:20, Jesus gives us a very important promise that we really need to remember. And it says, "And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So Jesus makes a promise right there that we know is confirmed. He will always be with us. So if you feel like, oh, I don't know if Jesus is with me, like, how do I know? He makes a promise that he is. So he promises that he'll be with you. In 1 John 5:14, it says, "This is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us." So maybe you're thinking, well, he's not really here on earth. How do I know that he can hear me? I know that he can hear you because of this verse right here. It promises that if you're asking for something in his name, he promises that he hears you. He promises that. So that's so important because he absolutely promises that he hears you. He hears you. So the key to starting a streak with Jesus is just communication. It's really simple, like anybody else in your life. It's just communication. So easy. Just be communicating back and forth. So how do we do that? Well, we talk to him by prayer, and he responds to us by reading our Bible. So here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Just pray for 5 minutes a day. Start that relationship out. Yes, it might be awkward at first, like any friendship, but start that relationship out by praying 5 minutes a day and reading one verse of scripture, just one verse, because that's what's going to build this relationship. A streak, a communication back and forth. The second thing is it all continues with consistency, and this is the 100 emoji. It all continues with consistency. So the 100 emoji means that someone has been sending a streak back and forth for at least 100 days. That's a long time, right? And so that would mean that that person is continuing. This should be a point where your friendship with Jesus starts to grow. It shouldn't just be one verse a day anymore. It should be growing to more verses. You should want to know more about him. This is the hardest part in a relationship. I know when I was dating my husband, we went through this phase where we were obsessed with each other. Obviously, we were dating, and oh my gosh, we just want to get to know each other, spend time with each other, right? And we all kind of go through that. Even with Jesus, you know, we want to get to know each other. We're obsessed with him. We went to camp, and it was amazing. We just want more time with him, blah, blah, blah. But then we kind of get to know him a little bit, and nothing really is like all that surprising, it feels like, anymore. And when my husband and I had been dating for a couple of years, it was like, boring. We're just together. It's just our normal. We do this every single week. We date every single week. Like, it was not as surprising, right? But the thing is that you have to be consistent even during this time. If you want to become a best friend with somebody, you have to continue. If I wanted to become his wife, I had to continue dating him. I had to continue making a relationship, even though it might not be the most exciting point. So in this point, you have to be consistent. One of the verses that I love is it talks about how your roots grow down deep into him. And those roots can only grow, think about a tree. A root can only grow into the ground if it continues. If it's taken out by a storm or if it withers up and dies, it no longer continues to grow. So this is the point in our relationship with God when it's so important to continue to grow that relationship, rooted and deep in Him. Because third point is it all ends with forever, which is the yellow heart emoji. Aww. So it all ends with forever. This is the point in the relationship when you should feel like best friends with Jesus. You have gone and you've communicated and you've worked through the awkward to get to this point, and you should feel like best friends with Jesus. And the thing is that there are benefits to having a relationship with Jesus. We don't talk about this very much. It's more than just salvation. It's relationship. It's someone who never backstabs you. It's someone who's always there for you. It's someone who builds you up. These relationships that we have in the world can't offer that to us. They don't have that. Yes, of course, ultimately, it's amazing that we're going to heaven with Jesus, but there's so much more than that relationship. So John 15:5-8 says, "Yes, I am the vine and you are the branches. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile and to be burned. But if you remain in me, and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to the Father." So right there, he makes a promise. He makes a promise that if you remain in me, I will remain in you, and you will produce fruit. You will produce fruit. A relationship with Jesus gives back. It gives back to us. And so isn't that incredible? That relationship that lasts forever, but you have to start with a streak. You have to be consistent. And then you have to soak up that relationship forever. So Jesus fulfills everything that you need in a friendship, everything that you've desired in a friendship. So I encourage you today to jump